What's up, YouTube? It's Mike here, back with another video. Finally gonna move that silver Arowana to the 1500 today. So I'm excited for that, but I have a few things that I need to do first to get it Arowana proof, to get it jump ready. So we're gonna go through that today. But first, I ask you guys, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell for notifications. And if you like the video, please like the video. So the tank cleared up from last week. I'm happy about that. It's got a tiny bit of a cloudiness to it, but also the glass, there's a pretty good film going on the glass again too, so it's a little bit deceiving. I gotta clean the glass. But for the most part, we're nice and cleaned up, and I am ready to add the silver Arowana here, which has been doing really good. I just don't like having it in here, especially because there isn't much jump room, isn't a lot of spook room in this tank for him. So I'd like to give him some more space and give him his permanent home, which will be into the 1500. This 300 is a good grow out, but definitely be nicer to have him, give him some more space. My plan for the 1500 is to add this netting to all of the openings on the 1500 to make sure that there's no place that the silver Arowana can jump out through. The other nice thing about the 1500 is there's over 6 inches from the water level to the lids, so he's got plenty of jump room anyway. So the likeliness ain't that great that he would jump out. I just don't want him to be able to push up on those plastic lids there. So I've got my netting here. I'm gonna kind of lay it out over the top and see what I can do. Try to stretch it over some of these openings. So I started playing with that netting, and I quickly realized that I absolutely hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate the look of it. It's going to be a pain to install. I would need to add hooks up underneath the Euro bracing, which would involve adding holes into the Euro bracing, which I can silicone every hole, but it's very difficult to do with the tank full. And then I'm still going to have like hooks there that a fish could jump up and hurt itself on. There's just no easy way to do it. The other option would be to put the netting over the top of the Euro bracing. And I can kind of show you, hold on. The other option would be to put the netting over the top, but then you risk a fish jumping up and kind of getting stuck under the netting or something like that. I changed my mind, I'm not doing the netting. Another problem I'll mention about the netting, as I'm going on and on about how much I hate the idea now, is I'd have to move it to do anything to get in the tank. It would be very difficult to move on and off, to unhook it or whatever I need to do. And even to feed would be a pain in the butt. So I changed my mind. I've got a different plan. So if we go over here to the 1100, what I did for the 1100 to kind of keep the lids in place was I added this piece of strapping with hinges, and that is very strong enough that nothing can kind of push these up. And the fish do jump pretty often and pop at these. But one of the problems is we still got some flimsiness over here, so I always worried about an Arowana jumping out over here. Even though I never had an arrow jump out from this lid system, once I added all this, I never had any problems. I still always worried about those sides. So I've got a different plan now for the 1500. So I ran to Home Depot and I got some of this PVC strapping. It's the same dimensions as the ones that I use for the 1100, and I'm going to do something very similar to the 1500, but I'm going to completely cover all 4 corners of each opening for the 15. So it'll be a little bit more efficient, I think, and I can either add hinges and latches, or I can just have it weigh itself down. I think the weight alone will probably be enough, but I can make changes and adjustments to it as we go. But for now, that is the plan. I'm going to use this, and we're going to build some frames. So I did this the lazy way. I should have done 45s on the corners, but I said screw it. I didn't want to miter them. So I just did this real quick to cut them up. And of course, these little L brackets that I bought were missing some screws. Welcome to Lowe's, that's what I get. But they do the job. I had some extra screws lying around, so put the little frame together, and now let's throw one up on top and see how it fits. Okay, so I didn't really account for my wires here when I did my measurements. So another screw up because I'm kind of throwing this together. But what I'll do is maybe I'll notch that. But I like how nice and tight these are. And what I can do in the future is I can add latches over them or on them. So there's really nothing that can pull them up. But the idea behind this is just to add weight to the ends of the lids here, so nothing can kind of push them up. So again, I can add either hinge or latches to lock these down in the future. For now, this is heavy enough that this small Arowana can't lift it, and that's the key. All right, got the second one up. I think this is actually gonna look just fine, especially once I paint them. I'll paint them the same color as the tank and they'll look good, I think. So it's gonna get the job done. I saved the most complicated ones for last. I did have to kind of miter some of these corners just to make it work right. It's not perfect, but it'll do for what I'm doing. It's gonna get the job done. And I like it. I think, again, once it's painted, it's gonna look mint. I keep repeating that because I have to tell myself that, because I don't like that it's white. Although the white don't look terrible, I just don't like it. So I will be painting this, and I have to paint these anyway because they're gonna hold my other 40 breeder like those. So I'll just do that all at once. Plus I gotta paint that corner stand that I made for the Ultimas. Now, I didn't buy enough strapping. Technically I bought more than enough in feet, but it doesn't work out that well. I should have bought at least one more piece. I should have bought way more, and I would have had enough. So I was only able to put half of this frame together for this one. But it doesn't really matter because I had complications here with my FX6s, and I don't want to take those off anytime soon. Well, I really do want to take them off, but due to my recent issue with my city water and my bloom I had, I don't want to take them off anytime soon. So I'm going to leave them on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some heavy pieces of glass here and just make sure that there's very little crevice here, no place where he can get out, and I'll weigh it down with glass instead for now. And that'll be a temporary thing until I get the rest of the framing, and eventually I can remove these FX6s. I hate them in my way, first of all. They're ugly, and I don't want to have those draping into the tank forever. They should be unnecessary over time. So for now, I'm going to do something a little different with this one, but we've got these three taken care of, and I can either weigh them down or latch them, like I said, and I think we're all set. So I'm going to add the silver Arowana now. I am ready to do it. I'm just going to go for it. So I will try to set you guys up on a tripod so I can film catching and releasing. Trusty rubber net. Try not to chase them. That went really smooth. So now we just gotta hope for the best that he does well in here. Hope that nothing messes with him at all. I don't think the gar care. I don't think anything really care. He's too big to eat. So let's just hope for the best that nothing picks on him. We did have a silver Arowana in here before, so I think there shouldn't be any problems. And I never kind of showed you guys that I added 2 of these to the corners. I haven't perfected it yet though because they keep floating out. I think the rays kind of push them into the middle. like what she's doing right now. But I had them kind of hidden in the front corners, and I liked it. It was just kind of adding more movement to the water. But again, I haven't perfected it. I'd like to make it so you can't see them at all, or you can just see bubbles coming up. I definitely don't want to be able to see the stone like that. But yeah, I never kind of showed you guys that I added those, and I hid the air line in the walls and then came up over, so it was kind of like, so you can't see it, because you guys know me, I don't like to see anything dropping into the tank. But yeah, so far so good. This is a big change for that arrow, I know. So I think as long as nothing picks on it or bites it, like that stupid giant gourami, we should have success. Let's see. Giant gourami seem to just be annoyed with cichlids or other gourami, so I think we'll be alright. Keep an eye on them. Keep a very close eye on them. I moved that stone back over so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. This is how I want it to look, and I want like both sides, you just be able to see the bubbles coming up like that. I think that's pretty cool, and again, it adds a little bit more surface agitation. Not that the tank really needs it, because the pump's so powerful, but I like it. The more aeration, the better. I also hope that it'll help keep the tank cooler in the summer, because we are getting kind of warm down here, and the tank gets pretty warm. We're at 83, and I'm hoping I can keep that temp down as time goes on throughout the summer. But I do really like the look. This stone doesn't put out as much air, that's why you're not seeing it as much, and that's because I need to run a new line to it. I'm kind of crimping this line, so I'll fix that and kind of even them out over time. But for right now, that's where we're at. This guy seems like he's doing okay. He doesn't look too freaked out, which I'm very surprised by. And we'll try to feed in a little bit. I think I'm going to save the feeding for the next video. Maybe I'll just do a feeding video for the next video. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want another feeding video. I haven't done one actually in a few months, so let me know if you guys want a feeding video. I'll definitely get some footage either way of that. And I just noticed this. Never seen this discoloration before in one of the overflows. It's just in one. I wonder if it lost siphon. I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, I'm easily distracted. I notice weird things. So maybe next video I'll do feeding video, but I am pleasantly surprised. I think the Arowana is doing pretty good. No clamped fins or anything like that. Doesn't seem too stressed out. No tail up, no tail down. So I think he's okay. I've got a bad history now with Arowanas the past few years, and I don't really know why I've lost so many of them over the past few years, but we're giving it another chance. Again, this guy was a last-minute rescue from a local whose tank sprung a leak, so he needed to rehome quickly. So I said I'd take it. No promises that it will not die in my possession, but I am fingers crossed. Speaking of Arowana, we still have these two little albino silvers that we are growing out in here in quarantine, which have been doing very well. This one is a little bit smaller than the top one. The top one is a less picky eater. This one will only eat raw fish and shrimp, and this one will eat pellets and everything I offer pretty much. It'll eat krill. So yeah, he also got a lot more feedings with the rays that I've had coming in and out. So he got to eat a lot more because I was constantly feeding the rays. So these guys have been doing fine and growing. So again, fingers crossed we don't have any problems and we can actually get some nice adult Arowanas over the next couple years. But that is it for this video, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll do a feeding video. I made the decision. Next video, we'll do a big feeding. We'll feed all the fish room, and hopefully that'll be a good one. It'll be entertaining for you guys. Thank you as always for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at OffTheDeepEndAquatics, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.